I'm going to try to explain some of the story of Gideon. And this is what my mom was talking to me about. And she brought this up out of nowhere. That's why I said it was funny. And that's why I started writing it down. Because like I said, it was a pretty wild weekend. And I've seen it with myself, a lot of people, everything. So I wrote it down because I was like, did that really happen? And she brought up a few concepts. So I'll share some of the concepts my mom said. But I'm saying this. I was gonna make a philo on this, but I read the Judges 6 part a couple times over the week, even last night, and there was just so much to it. I didn't really know what to get out of it because it was so deep. That's the only way I could describe Gideon, the story of Gideon. But there was a few points that I would give to you guys. So let me explain this story of Gideon, okay? Let me see. Let's go. Well, we're going to go to Judges 6. But I don't know if you see my notes on Instagram. Do you guys see the main points? One of the main points with this whole thing with Gideon is to keep moving. That's why he says, literally, don't sit and relax and be moving. That's what my mom said. We need to talk about the wolf and the raven, the genetics of the raven, and what's good and bad. But those are my mom's quotes. That's why she says Satan behavior. I write it down just like that. But let me read you this story. Because, again, my mom had certain ideas about this. But when I did read it myself, a couple things, it stuck out to me a little bit weird, honestly. So let me get this for you. The Israelites did evil. Oh, wait, Gideon becomes Israel's judge. The Israelites did evil in the Lord's sight, so the Lord handed them over to the Midianites for 7 years. The Midianites were so cruel that the Israelites made hiding places for themselves in the mountains, caves, and strongholds. Whenever the Israelites planted their crops, marauders from Midian, Amalek, and the people of the east would attack Israel, camping in the land and destroying the crops as far away as Gaza. They left the Israelites with nothing to eat, taking all the sheep, goats, cattle, and donkeys. These enemy hordes, coming with their livestock and tents, were as thick as locusts. They arrived on droves of camels too numerous to count, and they stayed until the land was stripped bare. So Israel was reduced to starvation by the Midianites. Then the Israelites cried out to the Lord for help. When they cried out to the Lord because of Midian, the Lord sent a prophet to the Israelites. He says, this is what the Lord, the God of Israel, says. I brought you up out of slavery in Egypt. I rescued you from the Egyptians and from all who oppressed you. I drove out your enemies and gave you the land. I told you I am the Lord your God. You must not worship God. Must not worship the gods of the Amorites in whose land you now live. But you have not listened to me. Then the angel of the Lord sat beneath the great opera tree, which belonged to Joash, the clan of Abiezer. Gideon, son of Joash, was threshing wheat at the bottom of a winepress to hide the grain from the Midianites. The angel of the Lord appeared to him and said, mighty hero. I love this part. He said, mighty hero. He said, listen, king. He called him a hero. He said, the Lord is with you. Sir, Gideon replied, if the Lord is with us, why has all of this happened to us? And where are all the miracles our ancestors told us? Didn't they say the Lord brought us out of Egypt? But now the Lord has abandoned us and handed us over to the Midianites. Then the Lord turned to him and said, go with the strength you have, and rescue Israel from the Midianites I am sending you. But Lord, Gideon replied, how can I rescue Israel? My clan is the weakest in the whole tribe of Manasseh, and I am the least in my entire family. The Lord said to him, I will be with you, and you will destroy the Midianites as if you were fighting against one man. Gideon replied, if you're going to help me, show me a sign to prove that it's really the Lord speaking to me. Don't go away until I come back and bring an offering to you. So, this is what I want to talk about because, again, my mom brought this up to me, and I read this story. It's not over yet, but hopefully you get the idea. I want to go over it for you for a second. But holy crap, Gideon is annoying. I'm sorry. That's all I was thinking about last night. I kept reading this, and I kept going over it the whole time. I said, this Gideon guy is very annoying. Why? I know. I'm sorry. It's surprising. He was pissing me off. Gideon, I was like, Gideon. Gideon, shut up. Why you keep asking these damn questions? The angel of the Lord is there. See, and now look at what you guys said. You said he has no faith. But this is what I realized. I don't know. Was it that he had no faith? I feel like God was willing to call him out if there was no faith. I really think so. I think he believed. Because again, at another point in the story, it's further down the road. I don't know if we're going to read that far. But Gideon keeps doing this. Throughout the whole story, from the beginning to the end, every single time God is there, he's saying, give me a sign. He questions God a lot. But then I thought about it. I was like, is he really lacking faith? Or maybe that's just his personality in a weird way. I think he's too meek. Exactly. Because what happened, he beat all of these commanders, and then the bigger commanders got jealous. And they were like, wait a minute. They're like, I don't get it. They're like, why? They're like, wait, I can't believe you did all of this. And then even Gideon's response was like, what do you mean? You guys got this, you got that. He was just genuinely kind of somebody who was very humble and meek. But that was one of the first things that stuck out to me, honestly, right off the bat. Actually, that's not the first thing. I'll tell you the first thing. But talking about this in general, like, I hope some of you see that you can seek God in that way. It's not always the time. It's not always questioning God, but it's literally getting involved to a whole different degree where, notice the difference. How many people are going into battle and not even asking God versus how many of you are simply so meek that if I tell you today, yeah, you're going to go make $1 billion. How many of you would be like, God, I come from this family. They're like, oh, if I'm going to do this, but I didn't do this. Some people are genuinely meek like that. And that's one thing that stuck out to me there. But let me take you, honestly, I'll start with the first part. Did you guys not realize how the story starts? I don't think you do. I don't think you do. How does this story start? It's explaining the Israelites, what's going on with them. Think about it. What happened? The Israelites, these people, where did Gideon come from? You see, because this is now my question. I just wanted to know. My mom gave me this story. She told me about it. I read about it. It's a good story. And then, again, like I said, Gideon was annoying me. My first question is, why did God pick this guy? Oh, y'all don't feel me. Have any of you ever asked that question about yourself? Am I getting too deep? Have any of you asked why? Like, God, why did you pick me to raise these kids? Why did you pick me to be the only one in my family who knows about this? Some of you, it's just speaking English. That's how it was in our family. We had different levels. So it was literally, why me? We've talked about this before. You see what I'm saying? Like, some of you were dealing with problems. Why me? That's what I started. Again, I know there's a lot of points in this story. My mom wrote me down. She had me write down different notes with what she said. But I just, from reading in the beginning, I just kept thinking, why Gideon? Like, why did God pick this guy? All he's doing is asking questions, this and that. But now, how did he get selected? Go to the beginning of the story. The Israelites are enslaved. See, and this part got me because I was like, damn, evil has existed for a really long time. Do you know that? You guys know evil has existed for a really, really long time? It hasn't really gotten remixed too heavy. And some of you are dealing with pain and struggle. And honestly, I don't mean to take away from you, and I don't mean to invalidate what you're going through. I'm not. But can we really be surprised? Because think about it. And maybe if you are surprised, I hope you realize that's what they did to God. That's what they did to Jesus. Even today, you realize I even talk about this. You know how many people treat me bad because of what I talk about? It's crazy. But think about this story. It tells something about evil, and that's what my mom kept reminding me. My mom's very aggressive, and she said, look at the evil. That's why she says the difference between the wolf and the raven. Do you not see it in the beginning? Imagine how evil that was. Back then, these guys, they weren't just robbing the Israelites. And again, some of you are going through stuff. I hope you could realize how it kind of relates. But think about what these guys were doing back then. Dude, they were not just robbing the Israelites. They were literally waiting until they planted stuff and then robbed them. Do you see what I'm saying? You don't feel me. I don't think you realize the level of evil that is. Do you think about that? There's one thing. Imagine some of you got mad about the GameStop stuff. Some of you got mad. Oh, you woke up. You didn't even know you had this play. It shoots up a lot of money. And then you're like, yeah. Oh, but imagine if I took your long-term account. Imagine I said, go plant your seeds for the next year. And the minute it goes up, I'm going to be like, sorry. Imagine TD Ameritrade they took all of it away from you. And then, guess what's even worse? See, you're missing out the part. You get fucked over once, what happens? You probably try again. Especially, where are you going to go? They had no other options. So what happens? Imagine then you get robbed the first time. Oh, man. And then you plant again. They wait, and then they take it again from you. Oh, that's evil. Do you see what I'm saying? That's a different level of evil. Y'all, I don't know if y'all feel me. That's crazy. Whew. So that's the situation this is arising from. And it lets you even know about, again, this was God's people. You guys know some of you are good, positive people. You are God's people itself. You know that does not mean absence of problems, right? But then think about what is created from this. Think about the mentality. Man, imagine if every time you planted for a year, somebody came and robbed it for you. How many of you are going to keep working after the second year? Fuck out of here if you say it. Any of you are like, I will. Liar. Some of you blow up your account twice. You're never going to trade stocks again. I know a lot of people, that's it. Imagine if you kept getting, it's easy to play the victim at that moment. You'd be like, what's the point? So then what happens in the story? This is where Gideon, how did God select Gideon? I love this part. I love it. He said he went and got this guy's son, the Joash's son. But where did he find him? Where does it say? It says he found him somewhere. Yeah, look at what see, Gideon had something. Oh, amen. Gideon had something. He said, Gideon, son of Joash, was threshing wheat at the bottom of the winepress to hide the grain from the Midianites. Oh. You see that? Gideon didn't give up. So literally, as everybody, they plant and get robbed, plant and get robbed, plant and get robbed. You have no reason to even try anymore at this point. My man didn't quit. That's why he did have faith when God kept. Why does it make sense now, some of the questions he was asking? Because he's like, God, I'm willing to hide the food. I'm willing to work. He was literally serving people. He literally said, I'm going to just keep moving. I'm going to get this food. I'm going to hide it. He didn't even say it's for him or his family. He was just saving it. He said, I'm going to just hide it from these people, and I'm going to still keep working. So do you think he didn't have faith? No, I think he knew. I think he was pretty traumatized. That's why when God said to him, yo, man, you're going to do this. He's like, God, listen, man, I'm cool with hiding the grain still, but what the hell you mean they're going to do this? He said, well, show me something. Show me something. And he kept going through the list, and that's why. What do you think the final thing he said? He said, okay, God, if you're God, stay right here and let me give you something. Oh. Y'all don't feel me. That's what happened. He was annoying until that moment. He kept doing it, though. But even when he finally had the chance, he said, let me give you something back. They don't even have food. And he said, if you're really God, let me give you something of already little of what I have. Whoa, why was he selected? It's okay to ask questions. What's in your heart? You see that? Like some of you are just, I get it. Like you're like, God, is this really for me? It doesn't mean you have a lack of faith. God knows what you've been through. The question is, what are you doing it for? And that's where Gideon comes. And that's how this story starts to progress. But it goes really, really deep eventually. And like I said, you get to see more of Gideon's character, because even after he defeats them all, he goes and people were they got jealous of his success. And even then, he was like, what do you mean you're more successful? He genuinely did not have a prideful heart. That's why when he would ask questions, it wasn't out of pride. He was just a very, very humble person. So the story continues, and through all of it, this concept of moving forward, that's why it's weird. My mom told me that, and she brought it up, and I hope for some of you realize this with Gideon. The point is to not give up. The point really is to move forward, but also really what is in your heart. And it's funny about how internal and external factors affect it. Right? Externally, when Gideon would say something, it didn't sound too right to me. But then you see what's in there internally. You know, you could tell where his heart was at. Even when it all started, externally, he's trying to help people. Or internally, he's trying to help people with hiding the food. But externally, he has every reason not to move forward. Because they just keep robbing him. So how does the story continue now? He goes on, and God tells him to fight the Midianites. So finally, he goes, and they had a lot of soldiers. And again, do you see what I'm talking about here? Internally and externally. This is what's in your heart, and then this is what happens to you. Do you feel me? I hope you do. Because it's very important. Because that's the next thing that happens here. They're ready to go fight these people who have hurt them, who have gone after them, who've stolen from them everything. They're ready to fight. They got 20-something thousand people. And what do you think God says to them? He says, that's too many people. You'd be like, what kind of God warrior is this? What you mean too many people? I can never have too many stocks. What do you mean I got too many bullets? We're about to fight. That makes no sense. You see what I'm saying? Externally, but why? He literally said, go and separate everybody. He says, send them home. So they send home half of them. And he says, that's not enough. He says, send home more of them. They went from 20,000 to 10,000, and God says that's too many people. Isn't that crazy? He said, you have 10,000 people. No, separate them. He says, see who's willing to play. He made them run a test. How they drink water is wild. Well, that's probably its own philo in and of itself. How do they drink water? Isn't that funny? That's how God separated the final 10,000 people. He said, take them to a lake and see which ones bow down and drink from it like a dog with like lapping it up, or how many people drink the water from their hands. Ooh. That right there, he said, what's in their heart? What's their nature like? Oh. That's where the wolf and the raven come in as well, too. He said, what do they do something as basic as drink water? What's in their heart? Now, that may be a stretch, but here's the whole point. Why did it happen like that? He separated them and said, I can't let you fight with that many people. Because then, if you fight with that many people, you're going to get prideful and you're going to think it's yourself. Isn't that funny? Even after you've been oppressed, even after you've done all of this, if you guys get too hot-headed externally, if you beat everybody with all those people internally, you might forget the reason of how you got out of this mess. Pretty interesting. I thought it was. So, I don't know why Gideon was selected, but I really do think it has to do with internal versus external. I really think Gideon was out there to help people. He was out there to serve in his heart, even though he had doubts and all of that. It was there for a reason. And even then now, I mean, I'll explain. My mom said it. She said, never sit and relax and always be moving forward. It's a bigger story. I'm trying to preface it all for you. But I would look at two things. What do you have inside of you? What is in your heart about stuff? The stuff that you're doubting, the stuff that you're trying to get, why do you doubt it? And then what are you doing it for? What are you trying to get out of it? Have you asked yourself that? Because that's what happens. That's genetics to a degree. Honestly, I'm not talking about what your mom's genetics, your dad. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying some of you, where do you align on that scale? This is what my mom said. I don't know. She said there was something in this verse about wolves and ravens. But she said, what's in the genetics? I think we've talked about this before. Because the question is, what do you feed on? Have you thought about that? You know why they call wolves wolves? What's in wolves? Wolves are sly. They're sneaky. That's kind of like it's the Wolf of Wall Street. They say there's a wolf in the hen house. It's smart, but uses it for evil. I mean, I kind of like the Midianites. What did they do? They would wait until you planted everything and take it. Genius. If you're trying to make the biggest come up. But then, what's a raven? Because again, think about both of these is how they genetically operate. It kind of determines how they move. Because that's the question. Are you going to keep moving forward? Wolves will go from one pack to the next pack, trying to slide their way into one thing, slide their way out of the next thing. But what about a raven now? Oh, y'all think ravens could fly, huh? So you're like, yeah, you could see it. It's interesting. You know what ravens fly around? They fly around dead bodies. You know, ravens signify death. They literally, it's in their nature to feed on dead things. Ooh, y'all don't feel me. Scary deep, yeah. I would say, how many of you are feeding on dead shit? Oh, yeah. Is that too deep? Yeah, vultures. But think about it. That means they don't like things that are alive. Yeah. That's why I wrote that down. My mom said that to me. That's why she said, don't sit and relax. Always be moving forward. The wolves will play games. Deceptive. They'll go back and forth. They'll wait. People are going to plot on you, whatever it may be. But then also the ravens feed on dead things. Both of those have that's just evil behavior. So that's what I'm saying. For some of you, when it all comes down to it, I think you have a really powerful story with Gideon, and I just think his behavior was very godly at the end of the day. He wasn't trying to trick anybody. He wasn't trying to hide food so that he could leave. Nah, he had a good heart. The angel referred to him as a hero. Every single time he talked about his family, he talked about this. He said, how can I do this? He went out. He looked for confirmation. The minute he was ready to confirm it, he said, let me give something to you, God. The genetics kind of shows you what he was operating on, how he moved. But overall, every single part of this story, man, if I could tie it into even yesterday, and to some of you guys, you have to keep moving forward. Like, for real, that's it. There's no game about this. I hope you realize that, because we said it today. Someone asked the question, said, how do I do this? I said, I don't even want to talk about it. It's over. For real, you got to keep moving forward. Again, you know how I already read you some of that story? Do you realize how annoying it would have been if Gideon kept asking more questions? If he kept saying, well, no, they got us like this. They did this to me. They did this to me. No. The minute he got something, he asked 2 questions and then kept moving. He said, okay, it's God. And again, he didn't know what was happening. Do you realize that? Why do you think Gideon kept asking God throughout the whole story, from the beginning to even all of the battles? Eventually, right when he was ready to fight them, he said, God, I'm going to put a piece of cloth outside. If that cloth is wet and the floor is dry, that's my sign. And then he did it twice with God. Why? He didn't know it was going to happen. Isn't that crazy? This guy was chosen by God. Oh my God, this is going to happen. God chose him. Come on. Think about it. He didn't know what was going to happen, but what did he do? Oh, y'all don't feel me. I don't think you feel me. Oh, do you feel me? I hope you do. Oh, he didn't know what was going to happen. He literally just kept moving forward. That's it. He got in, and it just like yesterday, went from the mundane. He was handling his daily life. He was threshing the wheat. He was watching out for the Midianites. Then he had to get militant out of nowhere. He had to start. He's like, okay, we're going to do something. How are we going to do it? He had to go talk back to people, go do all of this. And then finally the moment arrived. It's the same exact story. I think there's a reason why it happens. And honestly, it's just interesting. Like I said, you should go read that yourself, and you should try to figure out why God picked Gideon. Because I don't know. These are all just my speculations about it. But the point is, keep moving forward. So, some of you wanted that. Some of you guys needed to hear that. But I also think some people, too, keep asking your questions. But what are you asking them for? What do you want internally? How are you letting your external situation shape your internal situation? Good questions. And again, why were you chosen for whatever you're dealing with? That's where all of this came from. That's why I could not even give you a philo. Again, honestly, all I did today right now was just go over the questions and thoughts, and this is my hypothesis. But just like Gideon, man, I don't even know. I just said we got to move forward. I think we'll figure it out. And I think the same thing for some of you guys. You know, you come here. I wish I could give you answers all the time. I wish I could explain everything, even in my own life. But I can't. All I can do is my footsteps. The Lord determines them, but I can choose to keep moving forward. So I do hope as we get into 2021, you know, we talked about stamina. We talked about determination, dedication, all of that stuff. Some of you said you're even tired already. I feel you. But I hope this message of keep moving forward is going to be key. And that's why don't get distracted. Don't get distracted with the external. Don't get distracted on what's already happened to you. I get it. If you doubt it, you could doubt it. Ask the right questions, but why are you asking the right questions? Or why are you asking the questions you are asking? Just think about that. But you got to keep moving. So, I encourage you guys to go read that, Judges 6 and 7. I think all the way to Judges 8, and let me know what you think. Because that one got me. That one really got me yesterday. I might even have to call my mom back and ask her. But there's a lot to it. But I also think it's interesting how so many of you are dealing with this all of a sudden. And again, that's why I posted it on you can see the notes. You can see the date. You can see all of it. That's why I said, It is amazing. But God bless all of you, man. I hope that helps you guys. I hope you guys are all able to keep moving forward on this. I hope you guys can really see the ins and out with it and stop getting surprised too. Evil is going to happen. You see what it is. Again, evil is not the ultimate judge, is the way I look at it. It's going to happen. Don't be surprised, but your heart and intention and you moving forward will make sure you go from evil to positivity every single time. So take that to the bank, baby. I love you all. I hope that helps. But that is your philosophy, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure you guys are subscribed. We're live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes before open. Drop your thumbs up on the video. You're on mobile. Press hi chat. X out the chat. Hit the thumbs up button. Second link for the Nightly Watch is the main channel. First link for the Scream Alerts Bootcamp and Real Estate course. Follow me on Instagram at the Trading Fraternity. Keep it positive and respectful. And you guys, don't be too shy to say hi or too high to say shy. We're glad you're here. You know what I'm saying? Be the instrument.